Hey folks, this is Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist. In this case, it's going to be about 3 great knife and multi-tool choices for women. My wife, she's not particularly fond of knives. She has, of course, several floating around the house because of me, but I do pay attention whenever something does catch her attention. And these 3 are her favorite ones, and being as objective as possible, I think they are 3 fantastic choices. First, the Spyderco Delica. It's there's lots of things to like about this knife. When first looking for a pocket carry knife for her, she ended up using, back in Argentina, she had this one. This was one of my older knives, a cold steel Voyager. This is a fantastic little knife. It is very light, good quality construction and such, and she did carry this for some time. For me, it's maybe a tad too small. For her, it was just perfect. Very lightweight, good enough construction. The steel is nice, made in Japan. So this was her knife for some time. Now, as I always say, whenever there's something worth upgrading to, there's nothing wrong with doing that. And in spite of this being a very nice little knife, there was something better out there, and that's what she ended up with. After analyzing it a little bit and seeing some of the characteristics, I got her a Delica. Spyderco Delica 4. The Spyderco Delica 4 is basically a smaller version of the Endura 4. The Endura is a fantastic knife. It's a classic must-have for every knife collector, and it is because of all the right reasons. The blade has a great shape. Steel is excellent as well. The construction is very solid in spite of being light. The handle is comfortable. You know, you can open it with either hand because of the Spyderco hole there. You know, just lots and lots of things to like. All of them, well, maybe not all of them, but most of them are here present in the Delica. Why not all of them? Well, size is not, it's not as big as in the Endura. That's obvious enough. But you're not sacrificing that much, and you have to understand that we're not all the same. Some people, especially for people that are not interested in knives, size, weight, those are things that will impact how much they end up carrying them and how much they don't. For those of us that are a little bit more more interested, more involved in all this, and take this all a little bit more serious, maybe you don't have a problem with having a bigger folder or having a slightly bigger multi-tool. That's not a problem for us, because we take all these things maybe a little bit more serious. But we're all different, and we have to understand that for someone else, having a heavy multi-tool or a heavy folder is just not cutting for them. So, in spite of that, in spite of this smaller size difference, you're talking about a 2.8 inch blade, slightly under 3 inches, and that's pretty decent. You have a nice penetrating tip, which would be doing well in case of having to be used for defensive purposes. Very, very sharp, full flat ground, so it's gonna be cutting nicely. The steel quality, this is a VG10 blade, very nice steel, made in Japan, Seki City there it says. And the construction, again, as the Endura, in spite of being pretty light, you have those liners on the inside, providing a little bit more, making for a little bit more of a solid construction. They have a few holes in there so as to lighten it up, but with those liners, it's a very solid construction. The grip is comfortable as well, especially for a little bit of a smaller hand, maybe. Yeah, maybe for mine it's a little bit small, but still good enough real estate you're having there. Surface of contact it's more than acceptable for a small hand. The clip, it's very well designed, has enough space so as to get hold of a pocket or a purse belt or an internal pocket of a purse. and it is also adjustable in all 4 positions: tip up, tip down, left and right. Have here, here, and there as well. You notice the amount of screws keeping the knife together. It's a very solid little knife, and I know I'm not alone in my opinion here. I know there's lots of people that do love the little Spyderco Delica 4. Tons of reviews. The price of this one, it's about $57, give or take. I saw it just right now in Amazon. Gonna be leaving a link below in case you're interested. And for the price, for 57 bucks, you're getting quite a bit of a knife. The reviews over there in Amazon are also pretty solid as well. I think it's 4.5, 4 stars and a half, almost 5 stars, and people are obviously very happy with it. For women, I think it's fantastic. For guys that don't want to have that much of a bigger knife, or for whatever reason, great option. Moving on, something else that I noticed as time went by, my wife, she started to like this little multi-tool that I had for some reason. I had it lying around. I don't even remember the brand. It's not bad. It's not a bad construction. It's actually pretty well made, but it is several years old. It's one of the first little multi-tools that I bought well over 10 years ago. Very old. So she started having this. I suddenly found it one day living in the kitchen drawer, and I asked my wife about it, and she said, yeah, I just wanted something to for whenever I need a small pliers, or because of the screwdriver. I think she said that she liked that, and I said, okay, that's nice. Have a blast with it, enjoy it. And later on, as time went by, I saw that this one also ended up in that same place, the Leatherman Squirt P4. She ended up borrowing it one day. I wasn't even using it, so I didn't even notice until some time later. And again, same thing. She said, yeah, I was using this other one, but I needed a smaller screwdriver because this one has the smaller flat screwdriver and such. And you know what? I thought that was pretty neat, because the Squirt PS4, the Squirt P4, sorry, it's actually a pretty nice little multi-tool from Leatherman. It's one of their most successful models. At least it was back in the day, until it was replaced by the Leatherman Squirt PS4. And this is what I ended up getting for my wife. And she likes it. She has it in her keychain. She likes it a lot. The Squirt PS4 is actually a great multi-tool for ladies and for men. It is very compact, very small. A thumb size multi-tool. You just don't get much better than that in terms of size and volume versus efficiency. For such a small multi-tool, again, keychain kind of multi-tool, you have a great set of pliers, very solid. You have the pliers are small enough that even for a larger splinter, you don't have the tweezers here, but for a smaller splinter, you could get away with pulling it with the small pliers. Wire cutter. You also have on the outside, without even opening it, you have a little blade which will do 90% of the stuff you will be using a knife for most of the time. For opening it up packages, cutting a little bit of cord, of rope. It is not bad. Actually, it's a little bit bigger than the blade that comes in the Victorinox Mini Champ, which is one of my favorite little multi-tools, and the one that I actually have in my keychain. So it's a nice little blade for all those daily tasks, and yeah, even a little bit beyond that, because it's quite beefy for the small size that you have. You also have a file here as well. The file, it's gonna be eating up on wood, on metal even. It's gonna be even making quite a bit of a dent in metal with the saw that you have here. So the nice little file, it can be pretty handy. maybe even for a little bit of nail filing, you can get away with that as well. On the other side, you have scissors, which I'm not particularly fond of scissors. I think it's great if you have them, but it's not something that drives me nuts to have scissors. I'm of the idea that a sharp knife will be doing most of the things that you would be needing a scissors for. But again, different people, different needs. I completely understand how maybe cutting a little bit of string, or cutting maybe a little bit of a string from a piece of clothing that you want to be pulling on, or cutting with a knife. This allows for a little bit more delicate cuts. You could even cut your nails with it a little bit. I've actually done so with my own PS4. Have another one floating around there. And you know what? It's again not bad at all. The spring system is actually better than the one in the scissors of smaller Victorinox knives. On the other side, you have a large flat screwdriver, which you can get away with a little bit of prying as well. Nothing crazy, but you could. And for a flat screwdriver, medium, even large size, yes, it will do. Bottle opener as well there. Sometimes it does come in handy. And then you have a flat Phillips screwdriver. You don't have much of length here. You're not going to be reaching very deep, depending on what it is that you have to open up and unscrew. But you do have one, and it's pretty decent for smaller and medium-sized screws. You will do quite nicely with this one. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it has a surprising amount of tools for such a small volume that you have. The price of the Squirt PS4 is about $24. Has to be maybe the best deal in terms of all multi-tools considered. Even if you throw in the Wave, even if you throw in a Charge, over $100 multi-tool, over $100 type of multi-tool, for just 24 bucks, you can get away with a very nice compact multi-tool that will do a lot of work for you. So I completely understand why my wife likes it. I think it's I think it's great for her, and it's great for other people as well that are looking for something that it's affordable, compact, and it's not bothering you until you actually end up needing it. And moving on finally to the last knife that my wife likes, and I agree with her, the Victorinox rescue tool. I bought this one for myself. As soon as I opened it up and was looking at it, she said, "Oh, that's so nice." She asked a little bit about what it did and such. I explained to her, and she said, "Okay, could I have it?" Yeah, sure, go nuts. And it is, a Victorinox rescue tool, knife of the year 2007 IWA. It is a knife specially intended for what it says, as a rescue tool. You have the knife is based on the larger format of Victorinox. I think it's 111 millimeters, and it's specially designed to be used in rescue situations like car accidents, fires. It is very popular with emergency response teams, with nurses, and people that are likely to end up helping others. Firemen, of course. It is a great choice. I was reading some of the reviews in Amazon, and I found out that a lot of these actually end up being bought for women, for daughters, for wives. Great knife to have in the glove compartment. You have a glass breaker, very solidly made glass breaker. It can be removed though with a set of pliers if you pull it out, but because of the size, weight of the tool itself, and the geometry of that little pyramid shape there, it breaks glass rather easily. Bit of strength, gonna be busting a knife, a window a windshield with very little problem. There's actually a very good video on YouTube made by Victorinox showing how it's actually used. They just punch 4 holes in the windshield, and then using this other tool, using this tool, they just cut through the safety glass of the car. This is a saw, but it's not a wood saw. It's a saw specifically designed so as to cut through safety glass. You know how it shatters but it doesn't fall apart and such? So punching those holes first, punching those 4 holes, then shoving this inside and cutting with it, you open an exit, or you cut away the windshield of a car. Then you have a seatbelt cutter, which it's again specifically designed for that, so as to slip it without hurting the victim or without hurting yourself. If it's yourself that you have to cut away from the seat belt, you just slip it under there and pull with that curve there. It's going to be catching nicely, and it is very sharp. It's going to be cutting through the seat belt with no problem. You have some other seat belt cutters and other multi-tools such as this one. In the Charge, you have a hook type seatbelt cutter, and it does work okay. You have to just hook it there, but notice that you have to be careful so as to use it on this side, because if you in the middle of the stressful situation, if you're not careful, you can end up cutting yourself. Now you have to hook it that way and pull apart there. Here, well, you would have to be careful, but it's a little bit less likely of cutting yourself because of that curved shape. So even if you do, do something like that, it's not as dangerous. So a little bit of care. You slide it under the belt, pull it, and you cut it free. Then of course you have your main blade, and nice size, locks nicely with a liner lock there. It's the same blade as the one that they have in the latest version of the German Army knife, in the one hand opening tracker. So it's a nicely sized blade. It is serrated there in the tip where you're going to be probably needing it the most. Nice blade by Victorinox. Closing it down, you also have the beefy large flat screwdriver and bottle opener and wire stripper there too. Also locking with a liner lock. So even if you have to use it for a little bit of prying and such during the emergency, maybe prying away a victim from bended metal and such, if it's not too thick, maybe from a car, you can get away with at least some of it. You also have the toothpick, which is just a matter of a formality, you would say, and the tweezers, which, as we know, they can come in very handy sometimes. So you do have those there as well. Also a Phillips screwdriver and your punch as well, for punching holes into all sorts of material, wood, plastic, maybe aluminum even. You could just punch a hole with it. It's pretty sturdy, well made, as always with Victorinox. The color is of course very noticeable, easy to see, and here you have a little bit of reflective material as well, and of course it comes with a sheath, red sheath, that it's also very visible and easy to notice. I think it's a great option for that, for glove compartments, for having it in the house in case of emergencies and such. I see why a lot of people would like it, and I agree, it's a great choice for that. This one, the Rescue Tool by Victorinox, this is going to be for $72 right now in Amazon. Again, I'm going to be leaving the links below there in case you guys want to check those out. Folks, that's all for now. Remember to subscribe. Have a great day, and see you in the next video. Take care.